everybody. Welcome back. Long time no see. Not just kidding. Welcome back to the Pickswise NFL Show, Week 12. My name's Rachael von Oranje. That's my lovely co-host, Jeff Reinebold. And before I ask you, Jeff, how you're doing today, let us know your thoughts on the show. Be sure to leave comments. We love your comments, your shares, your likes, your subscriptions, all that good stuff via YouTube, Spotify, however you are tuning in today. We want to thank you very much. Jeff, the sun god himself. How are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Rachael. How is it back in H-Town?
It's pretty good. It looks like we might be getting a cool front coming in, and I need it because tomorrow, we film the show on Wednesdays. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I'm sorry, but I just don't want to be in 85, 87 degree heat with like 90% humidity on Thanksgiving. It's not right. It's a crime, and so I'm ready for this cool front to come in. Weather's kind of nasty, but it's all good. It's all good. Jeff, how did you get the name Sun God? Really quick, what is that?
After practice, I would do yoga out on the practice field. You know, once practice was over and everybody would go in the locker room, I'd stay out and get myself 20 minutes of yoga. So one day, one of the other coaches was going to lunch after morning practice, and he saw me out there, and I was doing this pose called Cobra, where you kind of look up at the sky, and that's how that was born. So that's. Okay. How did you find that out? I tell you what, you got a line to everything. How did you find that out?
I do. There's a man that I met whenever I used to cover the XFL. I was on the field all the time. I was at their practices, everything. That's how I met Sammy Coates. But yeah, covering the Roughnecks, Coach Dino is out there all the time. Yep. Very, very, quite a character. I like him a lot. He's really cool. But we just became friends. And so he told me one day, he's like, hey, be sure you call Jeff the Sun God the next time on your show. So I was like, all right, I'll remember that. Was
he wearing his fake WWE trophy belt on his? I'd say that guy is he's into big time wrestling. He is a character. Yes. He's one of the great football guys,
He is. I really like him a lot. And pre-COVID, I was actually planning on surprising you. He invited me and my friend up there, and I was going to do a sneak attack on you in San Antonio when you're with the Spring League. And then COVID happened. And yeah, so anyways. So small caveat really quick before we get into it, guys. If you are watching this show before Thanksgiving, we filmed a special episode just covering the Thanksgiving Thanksgiving games, and you can find it on our YouTube channel. Same thing you're watching right here, right now, where you're finding us right now. You'll find the Thanksgiving special that we filmed yesterday with our special guest, Sean Salisbury. It was a great show covering the Thanksgiving Day slate of games, okay? So before we get into Week 12, Jeff, let's talk about Week 11, okay? I kind of feel like maybe the Los Angeles Rams aren't getting enough credit. I mean, they just beat Seattle, 2 weeks ago? Then they travel all the way east to the Sunshine State, to Coach Dino State, and they beat the Buccaneers. Jeff, are the Rams for real? Are they Super Bowl contenders?
I think they're Super Bowl contenders. I wouldn't put them in the upper echelon of teams yet. But I tell you what, Rachael, where they've grown the most to me is on defense. They really are playing outstanding defense now. And they've got a formula at the Rams. They got to run the ball, they got to have play action, and they got to play great defense. If those three things are happening, they're a really, really good football team. I'm still not sold on Jared Goff's ability to beat you from behind, to come back in the game and throw from the pocket. So, again, for them to get the Super Bowl or get a deep playoff run happening, they've got to play that kind of complimentary football.
Yeah, for sure. And if all those things are going well for any team, right, they usually do okay. I'm still, the question's still out there about Jared Goff and can he bring a team back from behind? But we found a crazy stat whenever they played the other night, and that is that Sean McVay's teams are now 32-0 when leading at halftime. That is phenomenal. But look, Jeff, these aren't in my producer notes, but I'm just going to tell you because I'm really impressed with the Rams, and I was not on this bandwagon until this week, okay? The Rams defense, okay, they picked off Brady twice that night. And if I told you not one of those picks was by Jalen Ramsey, would you believe me? No, it was Jordan Fuller, okay? Then Cooper Kupp, he catches 11 passes for 145 yards. Woods, he hauls in 12 passes for 130 yards and a touchdown. The rookies, Van Jefferson and Cam Akers both get their very first career touchdowns, okay? And here's another obscure stat that I found, Jeff. The Rams are the first team to have two rookies score their first touchdown and a rookie to have his first interception in a game since the 1974 Steelers. And what did the 1974 Steelers do? They won it all, baby. They won a Super Bowl, okay? In 10 games, the Rams have scored 37 points on their opening drive, which is second in the NFL this season. And one last thing. Don't forget, I just told you, Sean McVay, 32-0 when leading at halftime. So, Jeff, when I ask, are we sleeping on him a little bit? Like, hell yes, we are, okay? Because most people that I know at least didn't have the Rams making the playoffs in that division this season. They have by far surpassed expectations, and they're doing it against good teams. So I think that I owe them an apology, at least. But I do think that they're Super Bowl contenders now. Beating Tom Brady definitely helps with that. What else anything else stand out to you about Week 11?
Well, I think, when you talk about the Bucs, it's just the inconsistency. This is another case of the Bucs going into a primetime game against against a really good opponent where they have to perform well. And once again, Tom Brady, less than spectacular. The defense gave up too many big plays. So again, I think this says more about the Bucs than anything else. And just where is that team when they've got to perform against great competition? Because that's what they're going to get in the playoffs. All the has-been teams, all the middle-of-the-road teams, all the bad teams are gone. Now you're playing against ultra-high-level competition, and you've got to show up. And right now, the Bucs haven't proven to anybody that they can do it, whether it's how they played against the Saints. I just don't see the consistency in Tampa Bay that you want out of a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had in my notes as well. I was just going to say, I cannot defend this team anymore. Like, that's what I learned about in Week 11 is that something is really, really wrong in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. A lot of things. It's not just on the field. It's demeanor. It's things being said in press conferences. It's very bizarre. Like Tom Brady, he is now 0-19 on deep passes in his last 4 games, and he has had an incompletion streak that has gone as long as 22 attempts. Like that's Tom Brady. Like, how is this happening? You have, especially with one of the best teams, if not the best team that I can think of that he's ever been given. You have literally been given everything that you could ever desire. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Gronkowski, a stable of tight ends, okay? You have a good head coach. But I hear Bruce Arians saying in the press conference that Tom Brady he thinks that he's confused on coverages and that his team is fatigued right now. You have Tom Brady, several weeks now. He will not shake anyone's hands after the games, which is very just kind of uncharacteristic of him. We've seen him be angry in the past with the Patriots, but I've never seen him just look the way that he does right now. Something's wrong in Tampa, and I can't put my finger on it because it's not for a lack of talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? As coaches, you pay a lot of attention to your team's body language. And the body language that you're getting out of Tampa Bay, particularly on offense, isn't good. And you're right. They're a very, very talented team. You take any of those Patriot teams that he won Super Bowls with, and you go player for player, and you would trade for the Tampa guy almost every single time across the board. And when you look at that and say, why? Here we are in the second half of the season. I could understand it the first 6 or 8 weeks, short training camp, no preseason games, all of that. But those are all excuses now. Now it's time to perform. And if Tampa wants to be considered a Super Bowl contender, they've got to perform, and they got to start this weekend.
Yeah, well, you know who else is looking bad right now, Jeff? It's you and I, okay? Let's just go over our picks from last week. Everybody, it's 2020, okay? It's the Corona apocalypse. Cut us some slack. We started off the season really freaking strong. A lot I heard you saying something in the pre-show meeting about these big CBS guys, like their picks. Like, everybody is struggling in the second half of the season, and it's bad. So last week I went 1-4 on my picks against the spread, but the Seahawks, with the Seahawks winning. And Jeff, you went 0-2, but you did land your parlay section, And my underdog did win with the Jets. They covered 8.5. So I'm ready to get right. Are you ready to get right?
We got to get right. And you know what? It's just like the season. It comes in spurts, and you got to just keep swinging. If you don't, you can't hit a home run if you don't swing the bat. So let's go.
Let's go. All right. So let's start off by talking about an early game this Sunday. We have the 7-3 Titans taking on the 7-3 Colts. It should be a pretty good matchup. Both teams are both coming off of really big wins against really good teams, right? Really good quarterbacks. The Colts are favored by 3.5, and the point total is set at 51.5, okay? The Titans went into Baltimore. They stood on the Ravens logo in the middle of the field. They got it done, 30-24 in overtime. Oh, and Derrick Henry, that guy, 100 yards plus a touchdown, okay? Now, the Colts, they didn't do too shabby either. It started off rocky, okay? The Colts were down 28-14 to the Packers at halftime. They ended up coming back, winning the game 34-31 with a field goal win in overtime. I think that the Colts, they heard all the talk. They heard me questioning why the heck are the Packers underdogs to them. They definitely showed us why. Lip Rivers, that guy, he's playing really smart football. Who would have thunk it, okay? 2 weeks ago, the Titans lost to the Colts 34-17, Jeff, and they were at home. This time they're in Indianapolis. Who do you like to win it?
Well, you know what? I've been just like you on the Colts, Rachel. I'm not a big Phillip Rivers fan, but what I've seen over the course of the season under Frank Reich is he's starting to play much better managing the game at quarterback instead of thinking that he has to make every throw. He has developed a rapport with Michael Pittman. Pittman gives him that great big body that he has an outstanding catching range. And, so I think that that's a positive. They've got a running game. They've got a great offensive line. But the biggest thing about the Colts to me, and what impressed me the most in the Green Bay game, is the play of that defense. Because you can get a few plays on them, but you can't put drives together against them. And we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers made some throws in that game that other quarterbacks just can't make. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is in the same class as Aaron Rodgers for certain. And then you take out the fact that, yes, Henry did rush for 100 yards, but a lot of it was on that walk-off run in overtime. So, and this is a much, much, much better defensive structure that Matt Eberflus has in Indianapolis. You look at, again, historically, I know in pro football history is last week, but if you look at Indianapolis's record against the Titans over time, it's extremely good. So I'm going to take Indianapolis in this one, even though I bet against them. I think every time they've been on the show, I think Indianapolis has a chance to make a playoff run, make a real playoff run.
Yeah, they do. Coming into the season, I was really, really high on the Colts. Never high on Phillip Rivers, but I thought he had enough gas left in the tank to get it done. My only issue with him mainly is that he's very, very turnover prone, right? Especially we saw that a lot with the Chargers. Right. But a lot of that probably has to do with him having to play from behind all the time, But he really, really, really impressed me against the Packers. And I know it's not the greatest defense in the league right now, but it just really impressed me. And look, the Colts defense, they gave Ryan Tannehill his lowest passer rating of the season the last time they faced off. They gave him 83.4 the last time they met. And they have, a solid roster. Couldn't ask for a better roster, right? But they got this guy, safety, Julian Blackmon, okay? He's a third-round pick. And he's starting to look like he could be the defensive rookie of the year, or at least his name's going to get mentioned, okay? And the last time I watched him play against the Titans, he wasn't scared of Derrick Henry. I believe he had a big tackle for loss against Henry, and that's just not easy to do. So I'm going to take the Colts again to win this game. So we both agree on that. How do you feel about the point total at, 51.5?
I'm going to take the under at 51.5. I just think that the Colts defense is too good. And, the Titans can't rush the passer, but they'll play structurally good defense. They're going to make you work for everything that you get. But so I think that because of that, they won't get enough possessions to get above 51.
Okay. I'm going to go with the over. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm very, very high on the Titans and as well as the Colts. And so this was a very hard game for me to pick. But I'm going to go with the over just because that's just the way I lean. Offense, offense, offense. And so does the NFL and the referees and the rules nowadays and all that stuff. I hammer that every week. So, all right, guys, there you have it. Jeff and I both have the Colts in this game. Jeff is taking the under. I'm taking the over. Let us know who you got in the comments below. Jeff, this game, I just want to take a moment to appreciate this game while we have it, okay? We're going to move on to the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. And I know that we just dogged the Buccaneers like crazy, and we're riding them really hard right now, and they deserve it. But there are so many Hall of Famers, potential Hall of Famers, people that are going to be in the conversation at years from now that are playing in this game right here. And this game means a lot right now, okay? Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Gronkowski, there's Kelsey, so many people are going to be in that conversation. So I just want everybody to really just take a minute to appreciate greatness, okay? As of Wednesday, that's today. It's the day we filmed the show. The Chiefs are favored by 3.5 points, and the point total is set at 56. Now the Chiefs, they got revenge on the Raiders, okay? They didn't cover the 6.5 points that they were favored by. They won by 4 points, but they are now 9-1, and obviously top Super Bowl favorites, okay? The Buccaneers, though, well, apparently they're just not good in prime time. I mean, earlier this season, they lost to the Saints. Then it happens again to the Rams, losing 27-24. Uncharacteristic of Tom Brady in the past. He threw 2 interceptions. Jeff, this should be a really, really great matchup. What do the Bucs need to do to get a W this week? Can they even do it?
Well, to get a W, they got to play extremely well, and they got to hope that Pat Mahomes, doesn't. And bottom line is, you look at Pat Mahomes, we've gotten to the point where we're so conditioned for him playing at a high level that it's just like, okay, he threw for 300, he threw for 3 touchdowns, didn't throw an interception. Oh, yeah, that's Pat Mahomes. Where his level of excellence it's like Aaron Rodgers. He transcends everybody else in the game. Look at the weapons, Rachael, and you hit about it. They got Tyreek Hill, they got, Sammy, and they got Kelsey, and they got, Edwards-Helaire, to me, is the rookie of the year. And now he probably doesn't get the touches to get, the statistics to have that. But you talk about a guy that's made a huge impact on a football team. They can run it. They can throw it. I don't know how you defend them. I really don't. And so on the other side of the coin, defensively, nobody talks about their defense, but their defense can get after you. And I think they found how to play Steve Spagnuolo's structure, the blitzes. Tyrann Mathieu has worked closer to the line of scrimmage where he's more of a playmaker. They've got guys that can rush the passer. I think the Chiefs are, and this is one of the reasons why they've lost once in the last 20 games, I believe. And, you think about that in the National Football League, Rachael, once in 20 games. That's unheard of level of excellence and consistent excellence. So I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think the spread's low in this one. I would have guessed the Chiefs by a touchdown. But, again, Tampa has got to prove it to me. And against the Chiefs, I think that's a pretty tall order.
Yeah, and the game is in Tampa, so take that for what you will, right? Because they're, I believe, still allowing fans, Florida in general, you can still have fans there as of right now. So, look, over the last 6 games, Jeff, Tampa Bay has been outscored 42-10 in the first quarter, okay? That ain't going to fly this week against the Chiefs. They can't do that. And I'm so tempted to go with the Chiefs in this game. But what do we always say? We say it every time Tom Brady loses a game, especially an embarrassing game in prime time. Angry Tom Brady. And the Buccaneers, when they want to, they can run the ball. And if you could find a weak spot on the Chiefs defense, I guess that would be it. I don't know, man. This is a really, really tough game to bet. It's something that I'm probably going to put my own personal money on more at halftime, maybe live bet the over, something like that. I definitely see the over happening here. I feel like that's really low. But oh, man, I have to go with Tom Brady.
Rachael, you're exactly right about Tampa Bay. They can run the ball. Jones and Fournette are good running backs. They got a good offensive line. The question is, will they run the ball?
Right.
And a couple of weeks ago, Jones hit that big 98-yarder, and everybody said, okay, they rushed for 100 yards. That's not consistently running the ball. That's one-off. That's a one-off play. To beat Kansas City, you got to make Patrick Mahomes stand on the sideline. And if they think they're going to get in a shooting match with them, and that they can score point for point with them, no way. So again, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs in this one. And, again, I think they'll cover.
Yeah, I'm going to go with I agree with you. I agree. I don't disagree with you at all. But I'm going with Tampa Bay in this game just because my principle, angry Tom Brady does not lose coming off of a loss, especially not an embarrassing loss. But I'm not going to bet money line. I'm just going to take Tampa to cover the 3.5. I think it's going to be a close one. It's a game I could totally see going into overtime. You know what? The Chiefs are never going to sleep on anybody, but this game does mean more to the Buccaneers right now. They need this more than the Chiefs do. So I'm going with Tampa to cover, and I'm going with the over. Guys, let us know who you got. This is a Hall of Fame game, basically, baby. Hall of Fame game, all right? Let us know who you got in the comments. All right, Jeff. Sunday Night Football, baby. Prime time. Okay. Black and blue. Is that what they call this divisional matchup here? The black and blue. Never mind. I'm going to leave that one alone. Chicago's going to go to Green Bay to take on the Packers. And we'll just call it a classic, okay? This is a classic NFL rivalry. As of Wednesday, the Packers are favored by 8.5 points, and the point total is set at 45. Now, the Packers, they lost to the Colts. They were up 28-14. We talked about that. They seem to be cruising, but they just couldn't stop Lip Rivers in the second half of the game. Imagine that. It was a nightmare collapse for producer Ben in the Pack. The Bears, they had a bye week, and the big talking point of the week is who is the starting quarterback for the Bears, okay? Annoyingly, Matt Nagy has refused to name a starter. Gamblers and bettors everywhere are very angry at him for this right now. Just name a starter. Do it. Nick Foles is dealing with an injury. Trubisky has an injury. Nagy even said that they might change this week to a quarterback with no injuries. So we don't know what the heck's going on for the Bears. But the one thing we do know is that David Montgomery will make his return coming off of concussion protocol, which will help the Bears out tremendously in the running game, and they really need that, okay? Jeff, Trubisky, Foles, doesn't matter. Pull somebody off the street. None of these people inspire a whole lot of confidence, right? But can the Packers, can they cover 8.5?
I wouldn't touch this one. I swear, I if I was going to bet it money line, I'd bet it money line for the Packers. But, Rachel, 8.5 points is a huge spread for a divisional rival game. These two teams have played for years and years and years, and typically these games come down to the last possession of the game. Now, you mentioned about the Bears quarterbacks. That puts even more mysterious thoughts into this thing because, neither Foles nor Trubisky is a world beater, but they may be to their third guy, and we won't know that till game time. So I would not touch this game other than to go money line to the Packers. The Bears, when you think about the Bears, you think about how bad their offense is, and their offense is historically bad. However, that defense of theirs is very, very good. Yeah. And, you look at the other side of it, David Montgomery coming back is a great call by you because if you're looking for a sliver of hope and you're a Bears fan, it's that David Montgomery, who is an excellent running back, can attack that Green Bay defense. I call the Green Bay defense a middle-aged man's defense. And somebody asked me the other day, what are you talking about? I said, they're soft around the middle. And that's really the way they are.
They have a dad bod.
You can run the ball between the tackles against them. And I think Montgomery gives them a chance. Now, will they be able to stop Aaron Rodgers? I tell you what, Alan Lazard back now. They're finally starting to get totally healthy on the offensive side of football. So I think the Packers are going to win this game, but I don't like that 8.5 point spread. I don't think they can. I don't know if they'll beat them by 9 or more unless we find out who the quarterback's going to be.
Mm-hmm. So if you find out Foles is playing, Jeff, or if you find out Trubisky's playing, how would that make you lean, like either which way? Does it change anything for you?
I would say if either of those two is playing, I wouldn't again, I like the Packers to win it, but I don't. 8.5 is a big spread. Now, if it's their third guy, then I'd say I'll take the Packers and the spread. But again, we may not know that till kickoff. So that's
right.
Again, it's just I think the way you talked about it. You may want to live bet this game when you see who is actually playing in the game, and just too much mystery around that quarterback position.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery. I like it. I guess I feel a little. I agree with you. Okay, first of all, let me just get this out here. I do believe that the Bears cover. I am not touching the money line. You know me. I don't bet on games that involve the Bears, or especially if they involve Nick Foles. Him and I have a very toxic relationship with one another. Getting David Montgomery back is huge because the longer you can run the ball, you do a bunch of great things, right? You can time of possession. You're keeping Aaron Rodgers off the field longer. You are also wearing out the defense. The better you run the ball, especially early on in the game, that's whenever you start to see those Packers linemen with their hands on their hips while you're in the huddle. You know what I mean? Like you just see them gasping for air. So if you can run the ball, run it. I am more confident with Mitchell starting for the Bears than I am with Nick Foles. But I digress. I do believe that the Bears cover. The defense is too dang good. David Montgomery is good. Look, the Packers, I was watching them whenever they played the Jaguars, okay? And they didn't let Jake Luton, however you say his name, they didn't let him go off. He had 169 yards and a touchdown, right? But they knew that they were going to start a new quarterback, somebody that didn't have experience in the league. So ideally you're thinking, right, they're going to run the ball. So let's stack the box and stop the running back from running the ball. No, James Robinson still went off for 109 yards, averaging 4.7 yards a carry. Like, I don't trust the Packers defense. So, yeah, all that to tell you this, the Bears are covering.
It's a good point you make about the Packer defense because under Mike Pettin, they want to play dime defense all the time where they got 5 and 6 defensive backs on the field, even against big personnel groups. And he's hard-headed about it. And that's one of the reasons why they give up so many rushing yards. There were too many plays last week against Indianapolis where he's got 6 defensive backs on the field. They got their 4 down and they got 1 linebacker in the middle. Like, you can't stop the run that way. And I understand it's the NFL today and everybody's throwing it all over the yard. But again, Montgomery plays, then Cardell Patterson can go back out to be a wide receiver, which is where he belongs. And now the Bears, if they've got anybody who can get the ball out, off of play action, has a chance in this game. So, like I say, I think I like the Packers to win it, but that 8.5 scares me until I know exactly what's going on at the quarterback position.
And what do you think about the point total? It's set at 45 points right now on Wednesday.
I think the Packers will do their part in this thing. They'll get at least 3 scores, but I just don't know how the Bears are going to score points unless they can do it in the kicking game like they did the last time we saw them on television. They got a 100-yard kickoff return, and they dominated the kicking game. They dominated 2 phases of the game and still lost. So I'm going to take the under on that and just say that I think that this is going to be one of those 21-7 kind of games.
Yeah, I see it being low scoring. I'm rolling with the under as well. Because 45, you split that down the middle. I mean, I feel like most teams, but I just can't. The Bears offense isn't that good, but their defense is good enough, I think, to hold back Aaron Rodgers to go with the under. So there you have it, guys. We both have the Bears covering 8.5 points, and we're both taking the under. Man, great minds think alike. Right? Guys, let us know in the comments below what you think. What you think about this rivalry and who you got. All right, it's that time again, Jeff. It's the Pickswise Parlay of the Week. We're going to give you 3 games that we believe strongly in, and hopefully you can build a parlay around it. We'll build a parlay around it and win some money, okay? Jeff, I'll just start off really quick. I'm taking the Seahawks -5 over the Eagles. Look, Seahawks got to win, okay? And they've let me down recently. I believe Russ gets back to cooking in this game. The Eagles, look, they're bipolar, right? Bipolar team, and they really need a win too. But It's just not going to happen. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Carson Wentz ends up getting benched and Jalen Hurts ends up coming in. Don't know what the hell's going on in Philly right now. The Seahawks, they beat the Eagles twice at Lincoln Financial Field last season. Both were 17-9 victories. And I think that this game ends up something like the same. But if you do the math there, 17 minus 9, that's more than 5 points. So I'm going to take them again to cover 5-point victory. Jeff, who do you have?
Well, I got the Saints against the Broncos, and again, the Saints are favored by 5.5 or 6. But I really like the Saints. I think we saw what can be with Taysom Hill at quarterback. It really is a dimension that's hard to defend because he's good enough. He threw for 200 and some yards, no interceptions. He's good enough throwing the football, and he can run the ball. You have to defend another position. And when you talk about defensive coaches, you normally don't defend the quarterback as a running threat. But in that offense, you have to. Taysom Hill is a legitimate threat with the ball in his hands. They're healthy outside. They've got all of their weapons back. And I thought Kamara it was good to see him become a running back again. The guy's a dynamic player, no matter how he gets the ball. But when you hand it to him, and then you also have all the RPO stuff with Taysom Hill, I like what the Saints are doing. And you look at the other side, the Broncos, Drew Lock is he's not good enough. I mean, you got to face it, John Elway. I think the Broncos have got to look for a quarterback again. And yes, Phillip Lindsay will run the ball, but you're running it into the teeth of a defense that's given up under 40 yards a game rushing. That Saints defense is nasty up front particularly. So I think the Saints will go into Denver and they will cover.
Yeah, I love that pick. Totally agree with you. And just a little side note, the Saints are one of, I believe, only 3 teams this season right now left that are top 5 offense and top 5 defense. In company with them, I believe it's the Steelers and the Rams. So that's some good company to be in. Seems like, last year, this year, it doesn't matter who's the quarterback for the Saints. They all win some games. So I love that pick. Now, we have to give a third pick. So we came to a unanimous decision, official Pickswise decision for our third game of the Pickswise Parlay. We're going to go with the Giants. Now, it started off, I believe, before Joey Burrow got injured. The Giants were favored, depending on where you look, by like 2 points, 2.5 points. Well, now since Joey Burrow has dropped off, it's 6. So we're thinking that you guys could get him at a teaser for like -3 over Cincinnati. Sound good? You want to elaborate on that at all, Jeff, or just leave it there?
I just think, I agree with you. If you can get them for that, you better take them. The Giants are coming off a bye week. They'll be healthy. Now, they did have a coaching change. They fired their offensive line coach and brought in another guy. So, again, that'll be an interesting thing to see how that plays out. But remember, this is the Bengals. They're not going to have Joe Mixon. They're not going to have Joe Burrow. How are you going to score points with Lindley as your quarterback? It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So, again, I think the Giants will run the ball on the Bengals. I think the Giants, you're starting to see the Giants come around. Now, I know you talk about my Giants all the time, Rach, but really, I really think that this is a team that is improving. And this is a team that's still in the playoff hunt in that awful NFC East. So the Giants have a lot to play for. Those are one of the reasons I like the Giants.
Yeah, no, I actually love the Giants. They're also my Giants now as well. Just been paying more and more attention to them. And despite all the injury, and losing their offensive line coach, it's chaos. Maybe it's a distraction, whatever. But, their offensive line wasn't good anyway. So, they're going to be okay. I actually think that right now, today, I have more confidence in them than I do in any other team in their trashy division. I think that the defense plays really hard. I think that the quarterback has a lot of talent, and you see him do some stupid things sometimes, but then you also see him do some really good things. And then I go, okay, you know what? I get why they call you Danny Dimes. So I love the Giants in this game in a demoralized and injured and broken down Cincinnati Bengals, who will look to the future for greatness. But for now, Joey Burrow. Joey covers. No more Joey covers, man. So there you go. There you have it. That's our Pickswise Parlay of the week. Jeff has the Saints at 5.5 over the Broncos. I have the Seahawks at 5 over the Eagles. And we want you to get the Giants in a teaser, -3 over Cincinnati. It's Pickswise Parlay of the Week. All right, Jeff, and now it is time for the segment of the week that you and I have been, I believe, the most successful at. It's something that resonates with me on a spiritual level, okay? The Underdogs of the Week, Pickswise Underdog of the Week. It's where we are both going to give you our dogs of the week, and hopefully you can make some money, okay? Jeff, who you got for your Underdog of the Week?
I'm going to tell you what, I like San Francisco, and, everybody may shock you when I say that because Nick Mullins is going to be the quarterback again in San Francisco, but they're getting their pieces back, Rachel, and these are two teams that are evenly matched. They played extremely close games in the past. Mostert's going to be back. Deebo Samuel's going to be back. Brendan Ayuk, I think, will be back off a COVID protocol. So the 49ers are getting healthy. The Rams coming off some big wins. This is a trap game for the Rams, and that 7-point spread is really juicy to me. So I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers to cover against the Rams.
I love it, and I have made some money having Nick Mullins cover in the past. So Shanahan does get the best out of his players no matter what. Now, would you consider, you said a trap game, okay? Maybe a trap game for bettors, but are you saying that the Rams could actually lose this game?
Well, I think it's one of that you don't like on your schedule because you just came off of a huge win against a team that everybody says is going to be a Super Bowl contender. And then you come home and you're playing against a team that's beat up, is already out of the playoff picture. It's a game that if you're not emotionally ready to play or physically ready to play, this team has gotten healthy. And again, I'm going to tell you something. In pro football, it's hard to win any week, but it's really hard to win when you've got to get yourself up to play an opponent that you're better than. And so I think, when you look at it, it's a really, really beautiful spread for me. 7, great one. 49ers, they play good defense. They play the Rams extremely tough historically, and they're healthy. I agree with you. Shanahan, one of the better coaches at maximizing what he has around him. And finally, for the first time maybe all year, he's at least semi-healthy at wide receiver and running back.
Yeah, I love it. I love that pick. Now, I'm going to go with my dog of the week is going to be the Chargers. They are 5.5-point dogs to the Bills. And I would never bet this game money line, but I am going to take them to cover because I just feel like the way Justin Herbert has been playing and the way that I think his teammates feel around him. Now, I know that they blow a lot of leads, but they can also come back on anybody. Okay, and it's the Bills are not as great as I thought they were. They're good, and they'll probably win that division. But I don't really know what's going on. You said it, I think 2 weeks ago. We were talking about how soft defensively they've gotten in the middle, and I just think that the Chargers cover. I don't think they're going to win the game, but they cover. So there you have it. That's our Pickswise Dogs of the Week. Jeff had the 49ers +7. I have the Chargers +5.5. Okay, Monday Night Football. We talked a little bit about this earlier. The Seattle Seahawks are going to play the Philadelphia Eagles at the Link, okay? Now, the Seahawks, they're 5-point favorites headed into this one as of today, Wednesday. The point total set at 50 points. Now, the Seahawks, they look like they're starting to get back on track. They had a huge win over the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday, 28-21. They're sitting atop the division right beside the LA Rams. And Russell Wilson, well, he looks like he's cooking a little bit again, okay? He's going to get things right. Now, the Eagles, they lost to the Browns 22-17. Look, it wasn't great, but they somehow still have a chance of winning that stupid division. Jeff, the Seahawks have had extra time to prepare for this game. They're obviously better than the Eagles. It looks like they're probably going to get this win in Philly, right? But do they cover 5 points, and is there any chance of the Eagles getting right in this game?
Well, when you look at football games as a coach, the first thing you look at is who's the quarterback. And when you look at the play of these two quarterbacks, completely different. Russell Wilson having what might be an MVP year. And then you got Carson Wentz, who I don't know what has happened to him, Rachel. He's There are and I'm not an analytics guy, but I can give you analytics that will tell you he's the worst quarterback in the National Football League right now.
Ooh.
So I think the Seahawks are going to win this thing. I think they're going to win it. I wish I'd have locked it in at 3.5 earlier in the week, but I think they'll win it by 5. I just don't. I don't have faith in Wentz to make enough plays. Right? Way too many interceptions. Way too many turnovers. He sacked and hit too much. I just really think that this is a game that the Seahawks will win on the road in Philly, as you said, after they've had extra days to prepare and heal up.
Yeah, the Seahawks, they beat the Eagles twice last year, right? It was the same exact scores, like 17-9, 17-9. And that was a better team than the Eagles are this year. And excuse me, I'm going to cough really quick because this is also what Carson Wentz is doing this year. Okay, I got that out of my system. Yeah, I got that out of my system. No, Carson Wentz has completely lost his confidence. And Russell Wilson, I don't believe you can shake his confidence. He could throw 3 interceptions in a row, and that dude's going to still go out there and run it and sling it. And he is unwavering. So like I said, Seahawks, they beat a better Eagles team twice last year. This team is terrible. I don't even think, the Eagles are still in contention for their division, but I don't think that team believes that they are in contention for their division. So for all of those reasons, absolutely the Seahawks, they are going to win. Take a money line, take them to cover the spread. I got it. Now the point total set at 50. You think that's too high or too low?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's been a sighting in Seattle, and it ain't Bigfoot that they're talking about, right? Seattle, there was a defense in Seattle recently, and
I heard about that.
A revelation because they did not have a defense at all to start the year. They went out and got Carlos Dunlap. He's had 3 games with the Seahawks, has 3 sacks in 3 games. He's given them a pass rush. Adams, they found a way to use him where he can impact the game. Bobby Wagner played last week like the Bobby Wagner from the Legion of Boom. So I think I'm going to take the under because I think the Seahawks will play well on defense in this. And again, the Eagles are struggling so bad offensively.
They are struggling offensively. I'm going to go with the over in this one, Jeff. And it's not just to argue with you, but the Eagles, I don't trust their defense. Sure is like we have watched the Seahawks. I almost said the Seagulls. I combined the Seahawks and the Eagles, the Seagulls. But no, we have seen, adding Carlos Dunlap has been huge for them. They're still not great though. Defensively, they're still not great. I believe that as shaken as Carson Wentz is, he is literally fighting for his career right now, fighting for it because Jalen Hurts is right there, sitting right behind him, okay? So I think that they're going to try to put some points. Miles Sanders, he can run the ball, okay? The Seahawks, they can run the ball. Carlos Hyde's there. I don't know what's up with the injury to the other guys, but they're going to run the ball. Russ can run the ball. I just think it's going to be more of a shootout than we think it is. I'm going to take the over in this one, okay? But there you have it, guys. We both got the Seahawks. We believe in Russ. And Jeff is taking the under. I'm taking the over. Can't wait to get back to you next week to find out who was right and who was wrong. Well, guys, we're going to end it there with a lock of the week. Jeff, do you know who your lock of the week is?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. I just really like that football team, and I think I've seen too many personalities out of the Buccaneers. Again, I know it's in Tampa, but this is a new age, right? I mean, even though they're allowing some fans in the stadium, there'll be 14 or 15,000 in the stadium. I don't think that's enough to shake the Kansas City Chiefs. They're playing with swagger, they're playing with confidence, and they're playing with the best quarterback in the National Football League right now. So why not take the Chiefs?
That's brave. That's really, really brave. Are you taking a money line or are you taking them to cover 3.5?
I'm going to take them to cover. I tell you, I'm all in on the Chiefs. Again, last 20 games, they've lost 1 time, and that was to the Raiders, and the Raiders could run the ball. So, again, I don't think the Chiefs, the Bucs can. I just don't know, they're willing to, call the run. And you got to call it if you're going to run it. So, I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, and if they start getting, I said the stat earlier in the show, I think it was like 47-10, they're getting outscored in the first quarter of games. When you're being outscored so much, early on in games. So I hope that they run the ball for their sake. But yeah, we'll see. I love your pick. Another team that has a great record this year. This is going to be my lock of the week. Taking the Pittsburgh Steelers at home on Thanksgiving to beat the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have been exposed, just like many of Greg Roman's quarterbacks end up getting exposed. And excuse me, they're not playing on Thanksgiving anymore. I forgot. Corona, COVID. It ruins everything, right? So this game has been flexed to Sunday now. But with that being said, the Ravens have been exposed. Greg Roman, quarterbacks, right? They start off really strong. Saw it with Kaepernick, watching it with Lamar Jackson. But then they start to figure these guys out. And the Steelers, I don't think they're going to lose this game. I just don't. I feel really confident about it. I would take the money line. It's a divisional game still, and the Ravens really, really, really need this because guess who else is sitting right there, like fighting for second place in their division? The Browns. Who would have thunk it? Okay, so this game does mean more to the Ravens than it does the Steelers. I don't feel confident about them covering the 4.5 spread, but the Steelers money line minus 215, not a ton of value there. But maybe you could parlay it with the, I'm going to take the over. The points are at 44.5. That's not a lot. These are still two dynamic offenses. Maybe you could make a little money there, but definitely go with the money line. All right. So there you have it. We both have two very, very safe picks in the Chiefs, in the Steelers. Actually, they're not safe at all, but these are two really, really good teams with really good records right now. That is our Pickswise locks of the weeks. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Pickswise NFL Show, Week 12 preview with Jeff Reinebold and myself. Jeff, you got anything you want to say to the people?
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there that watches us and spends time with us each week. We really appreciate you and being a part of the family. And Rachel, have an awesome Thanksgiving down in Houston.
Thank you, Jeff. I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving as well. And I'm very thankful for you that the geniuses at Pickswise, Pickswise.com, have put us together. They knew it, just like they predict the games, and they help give you free picks each and every week at Pickswise.com. They knew that you and I is going to be a hit, and I love it. So I'm very thankful for you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Look forward to next week to getting back with you. Be sure to gamble responsibly and have a great evening. Thank you. Or day.